open or kick off the conversation with a question for Nico. What are you paid for? When clients pay you, what are you paying you for? I believe that the largest challenge that brands today have, and that's why they come to people like Diego or myself, they need to connect or engage with consumers that are increasingly dynamic and empowered. We have consumers today that are very different from consumers 20 years ago in terms of their opinion leadership in the social networks and consumption power. They are increasingly restless, and it's very difficult to follow them because of the social networks and the penetration of this very small device, which is so disruptive and so paradigm changing. So consumers evolve faster than brands and faster than advertising agencies. So I don't know what they pay you for. In fact, they pay me to try and help them along that path. We will never guarantee that we will find the right way, but we will help them along the way. I was a client of Nico's, so I know why I pay you at least 3 times. And at that time, I paid you because what you brought was something different from any other supplier. Let us not talk about strategic partners. Let us talk about clients and suppliers. So you had different ideas, you have differential ideas, and you had lots of empowerment. We discussed a lot, but you were able to carry out projects from right from the start to conclusion. When we were preparing the talk 5 minutes ago, no, 1 month ago, you were saying, I'm not so sure about what's coming, but I am sure that the current model is no longer feasible. So that's impressive. That's very profound. We were talking about that a minute ago. The easiest thing to do is to explain what we are by what we are not. We know there are many things that won't work any longer. So what comes in the future, what lies ahead, or what is in store for us has to be tried and tested. So there are many things that have been tried and tested, and we should not insist upon them any longer. Can we talk about random to see why a brand paid Nico for an idea? In September 2012, Beldent launched or released an edition pack, limited edition pack. How did we do the first random format music festival?
There's a lighthouse in the middle, and when the light shines on your band, that's when you play.
So the show went from one stage to the other randomly. Innovation in the world of live music. There are some bands that are ready and others that are not. I don't like things to be off the record or off my schedule. Innovation in consumer experience. So try to find or to reposition on the stage. I like it because everything is going round and round and it never ends. We created a multimedia lighthouse and a connection of 24 mobile lights that interacted. Innovation in interaction with consumers. Through an app for small smartphones, millennials were able to vote live who would be the band that would close the festival.
This concert is the equivalent of the kind of internet age. Yo no sé si a ese grupo lo vi en la palusa o lo vi en maquinaria, porque los dos son iguales.
I don't know if it was the real or the imaginary world, because they are the same. It's a unique. So, Nico, what do you feel when Magic Dragons give their opinion, when they say, "I'll do it again"? How did this idea come to be? This is the closest thing to transmedia in the advertising world. Whoever has worked closely with the world of music knows that there are people that are true fans of things, and they are fans of music. And there is a lot of tradition associated with bands as well. So innovations and disruptions in the world of music. In terms of consuming music, fans are quite traditional. So trying to impose a format that does not exist with no guarantees that it will work properly. Additionally, a branded festival, the most difficult thing that we can hope to achieve is to have the bands buying the idea. So they understood that the brand created value and allowed them to live an experience that was unique. And the bands themselves said, "If you do it again, I would like to be part." It was very interesting because we understood we did something more than branded advertising. We did something that had to do with the culture of music. It was an experiment to them. They were telling us that, for instance, they played 2 songs, and then the lighthouse pointed in another direction, and they had a timing issue going from one stage to another, and this created a social experiment. People were chasing them around, so they stayed the 4 times that they could have run some other place. They decided to stay to look at the people, what the reaction in the audience was like. Chano, for instance, he was saying, well, he got a random knockout the other day because he had an incident. One of the band stars, one of the pop stars of the moment, was involved in a fight in the street, and so he's in a very bad shape after last weekend. And he's one of the people featured in the video. But he was saying that he didn't like to be caught off guard, but he was very thankful for the opportunity. And the brand was a catalyst, and the consumers valued the brand. In my opinion, there is something in the random event that is incredible. Rock, for me, is no longer a risk space. In the past, rock music was a space that entailed certain risks, but not today. Probably all of that has migrated to the internet, but there is no risk in rock music. Now, in music shows, I believe that a fest is the last great example where you are amazed. You don't know what will happen next. Everything is very predictable, or has turned predictable in music, and now random is going back to that uncertainty. It has introduced surprise where there is no longer no surprise. Now the Hitchcock presentation this morning, how you could create expectations 60 or 70 years ago. Now, then you reproduce this in your social networks with your contacts and your friends. What we have is a fight or a struggle for relevance. Faced with so much stimulus, with so many devices, we can only focus on those that create value. in the lives of people. If you do not create or add value to the lives of people, then you are non-existing. There is a survey by an international agency. The study is called MyFold. Meaningful Brands, that's the name of the study. The agency's name is Havas Media. This Meaningful Brands study is run every year. Last year's study was very strong, and I got the 2015 outcome for Spain. This is a clipping, but it tells us that most people wouldn't care if 93% of brands were to disappear. At global level, this would go down a little bit, but 2/3 of the brands globally could disappear overnight and people wouldn't care about it. This is because 80% of the brands do not create any value. In that search, can you prepare the coolest or cooler case?
The coolest is a complete redesign of what a cooler can be. First, you've got this 18-volt rechargeable blender. And what's a party without music? The coolest comes with a removable Bluetooth speaker that connects to any smartphone to wirelessly stream music from up to 30 feet away. And since you've got that 18-volt battery for the blender, why not get the most out of it? Maybe your camera battery is low. Recharge your gear wherever you are with this waterproof USB charger. That's the sound of a cooler coming down off the shelf. It's the sound of imminent fun. So why haven't cooler designs changed in almost 50 years? Boring coolers are boring, break easily, and are a pain to get to and from your destination. I wanted a cooler that was really well built, yet had so much fun built into it that I would look for excuses to get outside and enjoy it. So I created the coolest. The coolest is a complete redesign of what a cooler can be. First, you've got this 18-volt rechargeable blender. You don't realize the number of places you could really go for a blended cocktail or smoothie until you've got a blender built right into the lid. You're already carrying around a cooler full of ice and tasty beverages. Why not blend them up and become a summertime hero anytime, anywhere? And what's a party without music? The coolest comes with a removable Bluetooth speaker that connects to any smartphone to wirelessly stream music from up to 30 feet away. It's amazing where speaker technology has come in the last few years. You can skip songs and adjust the volume right from your phone, and this little box can really put out some sound. And since you've got that 18-volt battery for the blender, why not get the most out of it? Maybe your camera battery is low, or maybe you have an iPhone and want to use it after 2 in the afternoon. Recharge your gear wherever you are with this waterproof USB charger. The party doesn't stop just because the sun goes down, and you shouldn't have to freeze your fingers searching endlessly for your favorite drink. The coolest has waterproof LED lights embedded in the lid so you can easily find what you're looking for with the push of a button. One of the biggest hassles of outdoor fun is hauling your gear back and forth from the car, and I've experimented with various ways to solve the problem. I love coolers with wheels, but I hate that they refuse to help carry anything else. The coolest has you covered with locking tie-down bungees, so you can carry all your stuff in just one trip. And what about getting organized to go out in the first place? The coolest helps out almost like a picnic basket to make sure you always have a few key essentials with built-in storage for reusable plates, cutting boards, and this awesome rust-proof ceramic knife. Plus, the removable divider gives you a whole new level of flexible packing options. You can pull the drain plug on one side and your coolest can stay dry and cool just like your refrigerator. Say goodbye to soggy sandwiches. Regular cooler tires are flimsy and sink right into the sand. We designed the coolest wheels to be twice as wide to roll twice as easily. And how many hours of your life have you lost looking for a bottle opener? My grandpa's cooler had one, and so does the coolest. I create products for a living, and to manufacture the coolest, I've lined up a world-class sourcing company with years of experience making top-shelf products, and they're standing by to coordinate all stages of production and logistics. This will make sure you not only get your coolest on time, but it's the highest quality coolest we can possibly make. As you can see, we have our design finalized and ready for the big leagues. But to move to the next stage requires expensive tooling to pay for all the coolest parts, and the capital to buy our components at a volume discount. If you were to go out today and buy all the gear we packed into the coolest, it would cost over $500. Well, by backing this Kickstarter campaign for just $180, you can be one of the first people in the world with a cooler that's actually cool.
Recibimos plata, si hay que quiere el coolest, aquí en la puerta.
Share with us this case, please. This is the video. I am fascinated by this video, and I have some others. I have the traveling. This is a traveling jacket that we need to travel with when we are in coach class in a flight. So the point is, this video is very long. He repeats the same thing all over again. He is not fun when he talks, but he was asking for money. He was trying to raise funds to do the prototype of the coolest device. So he raised $50 million. $50 million were raised because none of us imagined that this was so necessary. We wanted to see something like this, but it doesn't matter what the stimulus is. Now, talking strictly about advertising, it doesn't matter whether it is not 30 seconds long. The idea is this. The idea is this product that creates something that is tremendously useful for the life of people. In this case, convenience. When we talk about things that are quite obsolete, in my opinion, when there is an idea, and a serious idea, it's not an advertising idea. This is a true idea, a genuine idea. You don't need to add anything on top. We were talking about the jacket, but can we change it for soda Soleil?
Esto es lo que decías vos, ¿no?
I'm crazy about this. This is an idea. Soda Stereo and Cirque du Soleil is an idea. Please don't make a campaign. Doing an advertising campaign is to put an idea on top of this idea, and this is what you need to know. We all go crazy about it, about Soda Stereo and Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil people started to survey in Latin America what kind of association these two things caused. And now people want to continue seeing Soda Stereo. And people believe that Soda Stereo, the band, is more relevant than Cirque du Soleil. So understanding this is incredible. It is flabbergasting. So anything that is done on top of this would kind of muddy it up. Perhaps you could do an analogy or a symmetry. When we are faced with demand or with an opportunity to allow a brand to tell a story, or when we simply need to propose an idea for a TV channel or a radio station, this happens every day in the world of advertising. I wanted to ask you, Nico, if you agree with this. For many years, the market was represented by agencies that had many clients, and now it is the era of a different agency customized to each client. I believe that in this search of engagement, the ways in which you address clients will be completely different. Today, I'm always saying that we are in an era of transition. Companies, through their marketing and their products, are trying to change the behavior of consumers. And we are going to a different era where consumers, based on their behaviors, have the power, are empowered to shape the marketing and the products of the companies. There are many brands that are disappearing as we speak. And in this era of transition, we are in between two eras. As an agency, we usually find that the best solution for a brand with a consumer is not through a communication piece. The best solution is through the creation of a product that communicates values, or an entertainment product like the Random Fest, for instance, or through a mobile application. The mobile application has the ability to, you know that there are many applications that you download and use for a short period of time, but there are other applications that you end up using for a long time. And there are apps that give you some functionality and not only entertainment or a logo. So it adds value to your daily life. So an agency that needs to have the ability to think about a product or a festival or a mobile application, they need to have the ability to change, because in each of the fields or sectors they compete with, in festivals with a time for fun or with a producer of digital contents, or an agency could compete by creating a cooler like this one. So the advertising agencies, what kind of permeability do you have to the knowledge of some other professions or experiences? I know that here in the audience there are people that helped you carry out or implement the Random Fest, but how the innovation powerhouses, how open are they to absorb knowledge or wisdom coming from other areas or industries, for instance, from TV or from radio? In general, you have the profession roles, like the creative pair, the designer, etc. And then also talking about experiences. That experience, can you capitalize that experience at the agency, or is it an experience that belongs entirely to the consumer or to the client? As we are in a transition, we are still learning. I can talk about it personally because it is hard for me to talk on behalf of the industry. In the long run, I believe that the industry will have to understand this increasingly clearer. In the case of Castro specifically, my company has a way ahead because we believe that to be able to innovate, you need to have the flexibility of doing a Random Fest until you create a product. And collaboration is key here. He mentioned Javier, who is over there. Without Javier, we wouldn't have been able to produce a music fest like this. We had never produced a music fest. And we learned by doing. And another innovation in Random Fest was to place a sponsor not as an advertiser, but as a co-producer. So going back to the question of how we relate to partners and to clients, we understand that in this metamorphosis that advertising is going through as well, the only sure thing or the only certain thing is change. We could be talking about many different interpretations, but they are all transient. The new media are not fully shaped, and they are not written in stone. So in this age of transition, the only sure thing, the only certain thing is change, uncertain change. And the only thing you can hold on to is your own toolkit, which is your learning background. So a project like this, you can capitalize on the lessons learned, and we are open here. with advertisers. We tell them all the lessons learned were capitalized by the agency in the past, but now it is a path of learning as we go for everyone. We replicated this random fest. We did it twice. If you have a mobile application, it creates learning. I don't know when I'm going to use them, but surely the accumulation of that learning and knowledge will get me better prepared for the new challenges. We have 4 minutes left. For those of you who arrived late, we have here with us NICOLAS PIMENTEL. He's the CEO of Mas Castro, one of the 8 advertisers you need to know before you die. Fortunately, we are fulfilling this dream. He was formerly responsible for Visa, Nike, Nestle. So both of them are true experts. Now, the last video we will show, unless you ask for an anchor, is the Vital case. When everybody says that technology separates, Vitalis formula milk that wanted to show the importance of the mother in the first months of life of the baby. There is a theory that says that the heartbeats of the mother has relaxing effects on kids. We did an experiment to try to find out whether this effect remains in adulthood. We found people with very stressful jobs, telemarketers or call center operators. Sometimes they call me, they shout at me, I have nothing to do with a problem. In the most stressful moment of the day, they call me to the room and they tell me whether I want to be part of an experiment or not. So I got the headsets and they asked me to listen to my heartbeats. In all cases, the pulse beat rhythm went down. Nobody knew what the heartbeats or who the heartbeats came from until they finished the experiment, the heart rate. So if all mothers could be able to donate their heart rates or heartbeats, we sent an email with a link for every child or for every man and woman or young man and woman to be able to download the heartbeats of their mother. We could share many results, but we will share 2. This is a possibility of telling you, here is mom, I am close to you, following your own terms. My daughter left the country 3 years ago, and I have just sent her my heartbeats so that she feels that I am close to her. Now, knowledge is really exciting. I feel moved by this. Damian is always curious and active. I thank you for your time. Diego, would you like to close with any remarks to conclude? Thank you for the invitation. This case, we developed it last year. It is a symbol of what we are going through today. In the long run, we invented an application that is an anti-stress application that connects you with the most human thing of all, the heart of your mom. So we are in this continuous trend towards technology. We are being linked to a truly human fact. And I believe that everybody in this room today, we are antenna to be able to differentiate technology from human behavior and what human behaviors won't change and which ones will change beyond technology. And based on that clear insight, we would be able to create brands with consumers, creating contents that will be relevant and able to touch lives beyond technology or regardless of the technology that is being used. With Sergio and Nico, we were talking about the brands that don't contribute, they don't matter. And this is some kind of mantra to me. I believe we need to do the same thing. If we do not add value to people, then we won't matter, and nothing that we do will make sense. So, at the end of the day, the main thing in this professional stage I am going through is to create value or add value for people through brands. No matter what is happening, because change is a continuum. It doesn't start and it doesn't end. Our main objective is to create value. And if we have this clear in our minds, we will find a way to be able to create it. If it does not make a contribution, it does not matter. Thank you.